But lastly, we have an article here by the Daily Wire. It says he questioned microaggressions, then his university gaslit him, claiming he was a threat and suspended him from campus. Now, I'm going to take a long time on this article, folks, so bear with me here. I want you to see what it's like to be on college campuses today, what the education system looks like today, and how they're treating people. There's a reason that I'm going to spend a long time on this, because it is that mind-blowing. Not only is it mind-blowing, it is also extremely scary that you have people running the show in the education systems at universities, and they're handling situations like this. Again, bear with me here. We're going in for a long ride. This is crazy. So let's start off here. It says, in one of the most bizarre campus stories in recent history, you know there's a reason why they're starting off with that sentence. This is bizarre. It is nuts. A medical student at the University of Virginia posed mildly skeptical questions about microaggressions to a university panel. Afterward, his school claimed he was hostile, implied he was disrespectful to authority and a threat to future patients, and began investigating him. As anyone in this situation would, the student was confused and frustrated by the school's actions, rightfully so. The school then used that confusion and frustration to further claim the student was unstable. Impossible to believe? Well, reasons Robbie Sauve, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, giving us the facts here. So it says here, a student attending UAV's School of Medicine attended a panel discussion on October 25th, 2018 regarding microaggressions, a term used to claim unintentionally rude comments are actually bigotry. During that panel, the student asked some pointed questions to presenter Beverly Cowell Adams, an assistant dean at UVA, so she was faculty, about the definition of microaggressions. Here's the description of the exchange. So I can't pronounce the student's last name, so I'm just going to refer to the student as a student. The student says, hello, thank you for your presentation. I had a few questions just to clarify your definition of microaggressions. Is it a requirement to be a victim of microaggression that you are a member of a marginalized group? Adams, the faculty member, said, very good question, and no and no. The student said, but in the definition, it just said you have to be a member of a marginalized group. In the definition you just provided in the last slide, so that's contradictory. The faculty member said, what I had there is kind of generalized definition. In fact, I extend it beyond that. As you see, I extend it to any marginalized group, and sometimes it's not a marginalized group. There are examples that you would think maybe not fit, such as body size, height, or weight. And if that is how you would like to see me expand it, yes, indeed, that's how I do. The student said, yeah, follow-up question. Exactly how do you define marginalized, and who is a marginalized group? Where does that go? I mean, it seems extremely nonspecific. The faculty member said, and that's intentional. That's intentional to make it more nonspecific. First of all, what a response, right? Well, that's my intention to be nonspecific, so we can't make sense of what I'm talking about, so you're just more confused at the end of the day. And then, by the way, once you're confused, we're going to say that you're not all there, and we're going to make you're going to have to go and get evaluated by a psychiatric person. You'll see that in a moment. That's why I'm saying it. It's going some crazy, crazy directions here. But you're going to specifically make something nonspecific? Or isn't the intention of giving a presentation so that people can hear and learn from you and make sense of what the hell you're talking about? It makes sense why the student's probably asking questions, because the dude's confused too. After the initial exchange, the student challenged the faculty member's definition of microaggression. He argued against the notion that the person who is receiving the microaggression somehow knows the intention of the person who made it, and he expressed concern that a microaggression is entirely dependent on how the person who is receiving it is reacting. Basically saying it's entirely subjective, that it might not be my intention of whatever I'm saying to you to be offensive, and you're taking it as offensive when my intention is not to be offensive. It's entirely how you take it, and it's purely subjective. The student is 100% correct, which is why microaggressions, I don't want to say it's BS, because somebody could be pissed off and take something the wrong way, but that's your fault, not the person's fault. Continue walking. It's not a big deal. He continued his critique of the faculty's work, saying, the evidence that you provided, and you said you've studied this for years, which is just one the evidence that you provided, and you said you've studied this for years, which is just one case. I mean, did you have the evidence that you provided, and you said you've studied this for years, which is just one case. I mean, did you study anything else about microaggressions that you know in the last few years? The faculty member responded and said he asked an additional series of questions. So again, after Adam's response, the student asked the third question. He asked an additional series of questions. So again, what is the basis for which you are going to tell someone that they've committed a microaggression? Where are you getting this basis from? How are you studying this and collecting evidence on this and making presentations on it? The reporter said an assistant professor who helped organize the panel considered the student's questions to be inappropriate and filed a professionalism concern card. Has anybody ever heard of that before? A professionalism concern card? They filed this against him. It's reported that it's a kind of record of a student violations of university policy. In her complaint, Kern wrote that the student asked a series of questions that were quite antagonistic toward the panel. Again, entirely subjective. This person's basically filing a complaint of a microaggression because the panel might have taken it as a microaggression, that the student was intending to be disrespectful to them. This is exactly what the whole premise was, and this is what the student was trying to clarify. And now, based on what the student was trying to clarify, you're filing a complaint on him for his clarification and saying that it was inappropriate to ask these types of questions or receive more clarification on now what you're freaking hitting him upside the head on. And then you wonder why the dude's confused. Unbelievable. This is where our education system's at. He pressed on and stated one faculty member was being contradictory. His level of frustration and anger seemed to escalate until another faculty member diffused the situation by calling on another student for questions. I am shocked that a med student would show so little respect toward faculty members. It worries me how he will do on his wards. Now, I don't understand why you're making one claim and having an association to another claim here, that just because of how he handled the situation there, that's going to affect maybe another situation for his wards. So it's and not supplying any evidence for that matter of going, well, this is how it's going to be connected to this, and based on this answer, this is how it's going to be connected to this answer based on the wards. We don't need to supply any of that. Again, the more generalized things can be, just like the faculty member doing, the better, because then everybody's confused and then we can never understand what the hell is going on. So that's the leftist thinking there, and we got to go further here, folks, because it gets a little bit more nuttier. If you thought it was bad now, wait till we get into the scary stuff. The concern card, according to the lawsuit, caused other administrators to be concerned about his behavior. An assistant dean from the medical school emailed the student asking to meet, assuring him, that's important. I simply want to help you understand and be able to cope with unintended consequences of the conversation. Okay? It's important to note that. Blank informed the student that he had not known hostility toward the panel, or he had not shown hostility toward the panel. Your observed discomfort of me from whenever you sat was not at all how I felt. I was quite happy that the panel gave me so much time to engage with them about the systematics. Your observed discomfort. The student informed the dean that he had not shown hostility toward the panel. The student is quoted as saying, your observed discomfort of me from wherever you sat was not at all how I felt. I was quite happy that the panel gave me so much time to engage with them about the semantics regarding the comparison of microaggressions and barbs. I have no problems with anyone on the panel. I simply wanted to give them some basic challenges regarding the topic. And I understand that there is a wide range of acceptable interpretations on this. I would be happy to meet with you at your convenience to discuss this further. During their meeting, according to the student's lawsuit, the dean asked him about his views on various social and political issues, including sexual assault, affirmative action, and the election of President Trump. That is extremely weird. Why would you need to do that? And one, you're just a liar at that point, because that is not what you said to the student on what you were going to assure him on. So now you're going in and trying to dig deeper on what you can find about the student, see where his political views lie, and then hit him upside the head, which they end up doing anyways. After this exchange, the Dean of Student Affairs asked for a meeting with the student. At the same time, UVA's Academic Standards and Achievement Committee, whatever the hell that is, just more money being wasted, discussed Kern's concern card, voting to instruct the student to show mutual respect to faculty members and to express yourself appropriately. The committee also suggested the student seek counseling. That is crazy. The dude is just asking for clarifications, whether how he handled it inappropriately or not. And now you're making him seem like a psychiatric ward patient here that needs to go receive counseling. This is how far this crap is going. A month after the panel, the student was informed that he was banned from classes until he was evaluated by a psychologist. The dude was banned for asking questions on a panel that he attended that he was confused on, that didn't make sense, and rightfully so based on what's being presented in this article. And now the school is taking him as somebody needs to be evaluated by a psychologist. Are you out of your mind? The dude was just asking questions because the person was generalizing things and was not being specific. Thus, it is rightfully so that needs to be asked by the student going, yo, can you be a little bit more specific? Because this isn't making sense. And on my end of things, you're being a little bit contradicting on what you're saying. I need a little bit more clarification. The student repeatedly asked the university officials to clarify what exactly he was accused of, under whose authority his counseling had been mandated, and why his enrollment status was suddenly in doubt, according to the lawsuit. These queries only appear to have made UVA officials more determined to punish him. The student's mounting frustration with these baseless accusations of unspecified wrongdoings was essentially treated as evidence that he was guilty. At his hearing, he was accused of being extremely defensive and ordered to change his aggressive, threatening behavior. The student was suspended for allegedly aggressive and inappropriate interactions in multiple situations. The student sued alleging UVA violated his First Amendment rights when it retaliated against him for asking unfavorable questions. UVA attempted to have the case dismissed, arguing, catch this, arguing the student sued alleging UVA violated his First Amendment rights when it retaliated against him for asking unfavorable questions. This is another crazy point here. Not only was the initial generalized premise of the story crazy, then him having to seek counseling for just asking a question, but now check this out. You really want to see where our education system's at? It's all in this one sentence here. UVA attempted to have the case dismissed, arguing in its motion to dismiss that offensive student speech does not enjoy First Amendment protection. That is where these people are at. That is where the heads, the dean, the faculty of these education institutions are at. You are not protected under free speech for just asking a damn question to a panel. That is where we're at, and that is the scary crap that is going on. If you ask a question that they disagree with, and that however they view that question as, even though you're not trying to be disrespectful, even though you're not trying to microaggress them, if they are microaggressed, if they look at that as being disrespectful, or you're talking to them the wrong way, they're going to hit you with a card or a violation. They're going to suspend you from their classes. You're not protected in their mind under the First Amendment. You need to receive counseling. You need to go see a psychologist because they think that there's something wrong with you. And this is the movement that's happening towards conservatives. And that is why I think it was so important to take time to go through this article, because I want all of you aware of what the heck is going on these college campuses. It is nutty. It is scary that somebody's determining you asking a question of you having psychological problems. This is some scary shit, man. Forgive me for cussing, but this really is. Thank God I am not on college campuses anymore, but as an educator, it disgusts me that there's people in our education system that act like this. If he was still being disrespectful, who gives a crap? The dude was disrespectful. He showed up to a panel. If you don't like him, then say, hey, I'm going to move on to the next question. I'm not happy with how you're asking that question. It is you running the panel to make that decision. But for you to hit him upside the head with this crap because maybe in your mind he was being disrespectful, again, maybe he was. Who gives a crap? Move on, man. There's other stuff going on that you can deal with. There's other stuff going on at the university. And you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's nothing going on at the university and they just wanted to find a conservative to attack, which is why you're following up with these questions. with a one-on-one with the student, which was not the initial premise of what you made the conversation or what the conversation was supposed to be about. But this is the stuff that is going on college campuses, and it's nuts. The left is going to destroy this country from the inside out, and it comes through indoctrination of our children, of our kids, of our students, and it starts with the education system, and it's only going to get worse as generations go on because it's a manufacturing system. I've seen it live as a teacher. There are people saying socialism is good. There's government classes going on saying socialism is good. There's economics classes going on that saying socialism is good. When you constantly have this idea and you're pushing it upon young people and they don't have the wherewithal to go out and research this stuff or find videos like mine or Dennis Prager or Ben Shapiro, The Daily Wire, Michael Knowles, Andrew Klavan, Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, the Hodge twins, Steven Crowder, whoever it is. And that is why it's so important to like these videos so that these videos get pushed out there to young viewers, teenagers, college students, so they can get a different viewpoint other than the viewpoint that they're getting at their university. And I hope that you're saying this stuff is nuts, man. But that is all the news I have for you today. Please take a moment to hit that like button. If you enjoyed this show, please also make sure you subscribe. I am also on Parler, so you can find me at Bald Brad there. I also have videos over on parlor.com, rumble.com. So join us over there on Rumble as well. And again, I sincerely appreciate your viewership, and I'll see you here next time on The Bald Brad Show.